said it, RA, one of the worst teams in the league. They want to smash. They want to take that controller and down smash their opponent. I think it's curious to see if that's actually going to work out for them. We have seen Hope be a dominant 2v2 player in the past. I think the Senna safety is the right call for RA. They just got to make sure bot lane doesn't go awry.
Exactly. Going towards the center, like I said, I feel like the Nautilus Pride has been so through the roof lately. Typically, that's where you see this locked in, but instead, going with the play early on, I love the pickup. I mean, in my mind, this has to be the most prominent mid laner in LPL right now.
You know who else is a really prominent mid laner who we're not going to see? Azir, because he's banned, and I did not mention that, so I apologize to everybody. Maybe you're wondering where the Azir went, but he has been disabled. You know, a lot of our mid laners, I'm not going to say Shanks or anything, but Shanks in particular, a lot of players, you know, really heavily highlighting this pick. We'll see what that flexibility brings. That Renata is locked in, though, with the tried and true duo.
That's going to be able to have that aggression down in bot lane, and like you said, with no Azir available, that means Shanks will have to go on to kind of his next core of champions, bring out the Talia. I like it a lot, going to be able to enable the bot side and hopefully get involved with Hope and Kael early. You'd expect it though, right? I mean, Shanks and Hope coming over to AL together, they've already shown great synergy so far this split.
You get that Tom Kench, something that has been trended away from in the Senna combo. The Nautilus, as you were saying earlier, kind of rising priority. The Maokai also was up there. But, hey, want to go with some more of that safety and that Devour.
Exactly, which, I don't know, it's going to be pretty interesting. So they have that for the potential pick options that can come through. I don't love it against the Renata. I mean, especially that level 6. You're still going to be able to find the engages that you want. But now for RA, I think looking to round out your composition with more long range just makes sense when you already have the Senna in the lane. You're playing it against a Kalista Renata, so never putting yourself in a position to be taken over by that comp in team fights, probably the way to go. But a lot of top lane bans surprisingly coming through. Xiaoxu Hery, not really the knife fight I would think of.
It's not, but hey, if you give a knife to the right person, I guess, this situation for ALRA. The Xin Zhao ban, I think, is pretty huge. There was still some potential flexibility with the Talia, but you're taking away some of those very aggressive forward-facing junglers from Croco.
And a lot of what we would expect to see now already off the table. I'm really just thrown off by these top lane bans, clearly expecting Xiaoxu to need to get up on a carry champion. Now for RA themselves, we still have things like the Cassante left open. They're definitely going to need some sort of front line in that top lane role, but for now, just toying with the idea of jungle.
The Grave is locked in for Naiyou. He's going to take some of the aggression and throw it right back into the face of Croco, and this is kind of what I wanted to see coming into tonight. Yes, maybe some stability could have been the name of the game for them, but you gotta get this guy off the ground running. There's a reason you brought him into the league. There was some promise there, especially towards his very forward-centric play, and I love that he's going back to comfort of the Graves.
Yeah, and especially now things like that W going to come in handy now that AL have opted into a bit of a double AD carry composition with the Kindred now coming out for Croco. Milky Way clearly making waves in the league with the amount of jugglers now swapping over to play carries themselves. AL, a ton of damage across this comp, right? I mean, hell, you pretty much have 4 damage dealers coming in with the Renata. If they can get in range, they will be deadly. But the engage is not that easy to find with this comp.
Got a lot of hop, skipping, and jumping here, at least for AL.
Yeah.
They're going to have to use those mobility movements to their advantage here, where there's a little bit more stability in the team fight and kind of front-to-back style for RA.
And now toying with what they want top lane, immediately locking in the Jack. So a bit of a 1-4 coming out for RA with how they can play side lanes. Jack's gonna be able to get a ton of pressure, having that ultimate, the Dawning Shadows from Assum there to help enable him. I don't love the Graves pick here. Feels like they really could have just leaned harder into being able to play the range game, especially because AL don't really have great options of hard engage, right? It's either Kalista throwing in the Renata or you're somewhat hoping the enemy runs into you.
During season around in some ways, just trying to find that consistency. I hope you're all ready to hear some Jaios as Shanghai is ready to come to life. Anyone's Legend versus Rare Adam, game number 1. Come on! on, RA fans. I believe in you.
You know, that one guy, that one guy, he deserves a shout out. He was doing his best, and that's what you need. And that's like what we were talking about, right, Mazel? Is that typically when you start losing, you find yourself towards the bottom of the table. I feel like you even show off like worse than you actually are or you would otherwise be, because again, it just stacks up so hard being able to figure out how to bounce back. For RA, we're feeling for him, but this is where the start has to be. It has to be against AL. AL lost to EDG, another team. I mean, hell, EDG are at the bottom of the standings, so maybe RA can maybe take something from that and try and overcome this massive hurdle in anyone's
I'll
legend.
just say right now, it does not get easier, my friends. As your RA, you're starting to get ready for a twister or a storm. You're getting into the bunker because you've got BLG, WE, FPX, NIP, LNG even to end out the season. So you got to start somewhere, and that somewhere could be now. We do have same side starts for both junglers, pathing down towards bot side.
And right now, bot lane going as we'd expect, right? The Kalista and the Renata having the pressure with the range that they do have. I love them trying to just push them off the wave right now, making their way to level 2. Gonna look for some heavy trades. And like we said, for AL specifically, we know a lot of this game is going to revolve around bot side. RA at some point, the center probably going to move up to help the Jack, so both teams probably going to aim for getting different parts of the map strong.
I just want to see these two junglers go at it. I love the classic of the Kindred Graves matchup. Just a lot of skirmishing to it. But also the clear speeds become very, very quick for both sides. So that's something I want to keep up and look at in terms of tempo of ganks as we start getting, you know, that 5-6 minute mark, as Croco's already going on the aggressive.
Yeah, looking to steal away the camp. I love it. You can already see the AL bot lane hovering over, so he knows he's completely safe. Even Shanks doing a lot to pressure in mid just to make this invade go off without a hitch.
Easy does it. Pressure in bot side. It leads to the dub of the blue buff for Croco. It's take a little bit of while, but we're going to see if he also wins the 50-50. Meanwhile, Vicla just gets completely dusted, and that's not going to be enough. The ticking health potion saves his life.
I didn't see how low it got. I saw it after it ticked up once to 32 HP. That is so tragic for Shanks, doing such a good job to find this much pressure in this match. It's just been insane, but Jungler's going to meet again, Mazel.
Let's see if he gets it. He does indeed. So one mark over to Croco.
It's going to be great for him. This should open up for Naiyou to be able to cross through mid, potentially go top. But look at the minimap. He is still just looking for Croco.
Let's go. This is what you need, though, with the Graves. You have that strength in the skirmishing, the contesting. Now we're going to get the 2v2 evolving here. Croco has to flash out. Naiyou's going for it, though. Hope is here to save the day, and that's all you need, Lyric.
Yeah, Hope coming in clutch with the heal to make sure that Croco survives and Naiyou going down. I was doing so good to keep up that pressure, but now it feels like you're starting to sink deeper and deeper, right? Not only have you given over a kill, you also lost your blue buff only, you know, like a minute ago.
Just the timing really working out, as Naiyou definitely playing heavy-handed here.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't even have a point in Q from what I saw. Doesn't have a point in W. It's 2 points in Q. Feeling really good going for this trade because he has that burn coming from the red buff, but there it was, the flash heal from Hope, making it so Croco survives.
So
great
funny.
Start for him already. Like, look at this. Coming back with a recurve bow and a longsword is huge.
Yeah. It's so funny how many times his name comes up in a pun because he just provides that hope to a team. I feel like a lot of times when we're looking at WE, it was like all eyes on Hope. If he could carry past 30 minutes, they win games. And you see when he comes into a roster, at least to his namesake, he does provide that.
And, you know, those puns are always going to be made, Mazel, because hope is just a very easy word to say in a game like League of Legends. And I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to, like, mince words just because hope is also on the Rift. Puns are going to come, even if I kind of hate puns themselves, you know. I feel like I love puns, but I feel like the pun gimmick has already been claimed by many people, and there is no room for a punless peasant like myself.
That's where you're wrong. That's where you're completely wrong. There's always room for punny people in this world, all right? There's always room.
See, it was already too much, but with that, we need to come back to the game, because I can sense that some action gonna be on the table.
I think you're a little wrong. We did get a Telegrubbies episode played and watched. It was shared Croco got the first couple pieces of the episode, learned a little bit about himself, and then Naiyou came in for the last parts.
Yeah, so it does at least get one for RA. But with that, Croco's been able to keep up tempo so well, already working his way down towards his bot side camps. It's kind of funny how AL have anticipated the Senna move. So if you look at the minimap, Kael's actually moving up towards the top side preemptively, which Assum wasn't showing on the way for a while, right? He did walk mid, but AL clearly trying to manage the Senna with what they know they should expect.
That's the World Ender pop. Hery gonna go at it here with Xiaoxu, getting very dicey though. Xiaoxu had equipped a real weapon there in the top side of the map. Level 6s are burned by both.
Yeah, it's just so hard to go against Shanks in those consistent trades. Typically, Xiaoxu having to whittle him down with those Qs, using those sweet spots. Is going to have to go for a reset in the end, but we come right back to it, and I love. We still see both teams just hovering around the spot side. Shanks is making his way now on the mini-map. Both teams probably should just start looking to control this Drake. Hell, AL not even going to look to control it to get any more vision. Just going to start it off outright.
Yeah, I mean, they have the pressure. They have the double marksman here. They can take it so quick, and the Ren stacks from the Callista. Kael gonna go up and try to find out Naiyou, but the first objective, at least in terms of dragons, goes to anyone's legend. Fate's Call gonna be used and flashed out of. That'll be Zorah's flash. Meanwhile, just spiraling despair in mid lane, and the pop goes. Shanks goes down with them, and there you go, RA on the board.
Nice job by RA to find a pivot. I guess it makes sense they didn't want to contest that Drake when Croco was already level 6 and Naiyou still a bit off from that point. But teams now, an objective traded for a kill. Also flashes gained for AL, so we're going to be looking at them to make a repeat gank down towards that bot side.
Also got to see there before we go into it, a 20 CS lead gained in the top side for RA. This was the catch out though.
Yeah, I mean, great ult coming from Vicla. Just no flash there, really no way for Shanks to escape. Doesn't even matter that the Graves doesn't have the ult to be able to play with. And now, I feel like we got to keep our eyes on the Weaver's Wall because, right, we have no flash on Zorah. It's pretty decent time to make a play. We can see that Shanks still has push in that mid lane.
And you now have flash for Shanks, so you can get some plays at least in finding the setups there. But at least now we're 8.5 minutes in. Things are going calm and steady for RA. And I think that's not something we could say in a lot of their games. And I think top lane has definitely been a helper of that, but Xiaoxu might have just bitten more than he can chew because he has found a Croco in the bush. And Hery is going to try to find the Q sweet spots here. A couple more autos, but the flash comes out from Xiaoxu and he's alive.
Gets away for now. Still Shanks hovering up. Who knows, though? Naiyou might be able to prevent this.
Weaver's Wall, like you called it, available and ready to go. They're going to go into the bush here as Naiyou shows his face. Xiaoxu is being surrounded by wolves. Should be just fine, though. He's got a little bit of a campfire with him, and Vicla's here now, too.
Yeah, both teams just staring at each other on this top side.
Menacingly.
Ooh. But it does open up with a 2v2 in bot.
A lot of Ren stacks in that poor catfish. Assum's going to step up now as well. Luckily, hope Kael cannot see him, so he can't get any more in. I'm trading back and forth there.
Being a bit cautious because Kael's still not level 6 because of the time he spent moving up to top lane when he was trying to preempt the Assum realm. That never happened, so misguessing on that one. But now has the ult. Now they can keep playing a bit farther forward because they know if any sort of dive comes out from the Tom Kench, they'll always be able to get out in the end.
And that's why you pick it, even with that lack of presence and recency for it. It does provide that safety and a lot of the engage potential, which I think was something that RA were very much missing. And now, you know, Zorah is going to be able to provide a lot of that for the team, but it does feel like singularly coming from him for those big engages.
But it feels like that for both sides, right? Like,
True.
There's really no super easy way to engage. Like, sure, as Hope, you can always throw your Renata in, but that typically is not the play pattern of that duo.
It's going to be all about the flanks of the top laners.
Exactly,
the
right?
engage.
Luckily, AL, with having the Weaver's Wall, like, maybe they could corner them off if Shanks can find an angle, which, speaking of angles,
Croco
run
really
down.
wanted that mark there. He's not going to get it, though. He's still stuck at 2. So not going to be spring-loaded, at least in terms of the marks he's been able to get. Now Croco and Kael will not find Naiyou. The dragon isn't up for another minute and a half. We do have the other grubs on the side of the map, but they're not going to go for it. Another scuttle.
You know, And this is where AL, I want to see them play for these scrubs, right? I mean, being able to deny those from the side of Jax, really just being able to continue to find your lead. They've had pressure in bot this whole game. You could have at least one part of your bot lane leaning up. But it looks like RA actually might be the first team to go for it.
It's the Grandmaster's Challenge popped there by Xiaoxu, and Hery popped the world into a run away. Tonic Shadow comes out, flash out of Hery now too, and the grub started up by Naiyou.
Yeah, that sets it up. And hell, even Croco going for a reset, so maybe means AL weren't even thinking about the objective at all, but this is going to be a nice little boon for the side of RA. Being slightly up in gold, they've maintained being even in the early game. You have a Senna, you have a Jax, you're going to scale great throughout this game.
Nobody's going to get the extra stack of the mites, although Croco going to come in and try to split the difference, go 3-3 here. And Naiyou will not actually contest that one. He did have first item with matching Croco, but we position now down towards the Dragon Pit.
And both teams are starting to make their way over. Both top laners did TP to top lane. Hery not too long ago, Xiaoxu now, so this should only be a 4v4, but both teams wanting this objective. Ult's available all around.
Yeah, did not want to hop over the wall there. So he definitely took a little bit of damage from Vicla. The Dragon started Croco over the wall here. They don't have vision, so Croco's going to go in a little bit early. Weaver's wall across. They have such split damage now. Spiraling Despair over top, but the hostile takeover has made the difference. The Dragon goes over to AL too, and the kills as one Catfish is already down, and you don't have anyone else falling in AL makeout.
Nice play coming out from AL. I thought it was getting dicey with how much time they were giving to RA to start that one off and the angles they found, but clearly have a good idea of walling them off, being able to get the objective. RA with a nice turn, though, to mid to at least get some plates to deny a minion.
It's something back for sure, but 2 kills to a Kalista, who now has Blade of the Rune King started up at 13 minutes. Definitely feeling good for anyone's life. We've got to take a look at this chaotic fight.
Yeah, Croco just jumping in. I love the idea of splitting them off with the Weaver's wall, immediately forcing Zorah to eat the Graves and spin him out and just run away. But there's the combo with the Renata ultimate. The wall creating such little space where it opens up for that to be able to hit, and then allows for AL to not only find the Drake, but also get those kills.
You're talking about scaling being a possibility for RA, but now anyone's legend can use this very aggressive double marksman composition to push themselves forward. You do have a Rift Herald coming up now, so they can keep that tempo up.
And already playing 4 people in enemy topside jungle. So going to be able to take away this red. Just doing a great job of denying Naiyou this whole game. And this is what we highlighted coming to today, right? That as Naiyou, you're going to have to come in and be able to perform against AL and perform against Croco, who enable him so well.
Yep.
So far, they haven't been able to do that. Croco getting the best of him.
And that'll be a 3rd mark for Croco, escorted by his team too. Still hasn't gotten the 4th mark to really get that unlocked first segment, but getting very close in that regard. Now we should see adaptation towards the top side to get this Rift Herald for anyone's legend.
Moving up, Naiyou moving to the opposite side of the map. But I don't really think Graves... It'd be really hard for Graves' play to go for any sort of cross-map play without Vicla finding some great trades in that 1v1 first. So it seems like for RA, they're just going to have to accept, hey, we don't get any sort of trade for this. There isn't even any jungle camps in AL's bot side jungle to steal. So this is just pure win for AL.
It's just so hard. You look there, like you think maybe there's an angle in mid lane, but you realize you have one go button. And if that misses, you can't do anything. So it's a situation where it's starting to feel a little rough because RA can't do anything, but then you have in the back of your mind, okay, well, it's a Senna. We have a little bit of a team fight comp, and we just got to make it there.
Right, I feel like that's the way to look at this game, because actually it feels like if either team comp fell behind, it would be really hard to come back because of the lack of ways for either side to really create opportunities themselves. It feels a lot better to have the enemy team coming into you. So for RA now, it's just about stabilizing, I think, and being able to make it to that potential soul fight when you start getting items onto people like the Jax and the Senna, and they can really start having a big impact. But these laning phases have been extended pretty long without turrets going down, and AL have really been enjoying that.
Yeah, I was ready for a bloodbath. I was ready for RA to just like come in, guns blazing. They did draft some guns, but they aren't blazing. And we're 16 minutes in with 3 kills between these two teams. And I think that maybe speaks to the pressure on both these sides in different ways. RA trying to make up for a very, very rough season, and AL trying to continue to cement themselves in a place of power in the LPL.
Exactly, especially this one, right? Because if you make it on to 8 wins, that means the worst you can end up is 8-8. And 8-8 is a pretty good spot to assume you'll most likely make playoffs.
Xiaoxu, he wants it. Hery's gonna pop the World Ender's got a decent amount of healing back. Oh my god, Croco's coming in though. TP's gonna be in, but it's so late. Here's the Lamb's Respite, the Dawning Shadow, but Xiaoxu, he gets the kill on a Hery and RA combined.
You know, it makes sense now why so many top lane bans were thrown out against Xiaoxu. Things like the Jace and their inactivity, because my god, still dominant in this 1v1. I know the Senna ult helps, but come on. He did the work. He did the work.
I think Croco's Lamb's Respite might have helped even more. Now we see the charge in the mid lane from Croco. They do have some mites in that regard, but the tower is not going to be too happy. He's about a quarter of health down.
So it means AL now can pivot faster to the bot side, even having Hery TP down there. So I love this. It's going to give them a lot of momentum to be able to start getting vision like they're doing now. Dragon's coming up in 15 seconds. And this should be a pretty easy soul point for anyone's legend.
Just imagining this team with a Cloud Soul, that's terrifying. This team really will have a lot of fun with movement speed, especially after their ultis. We are getting to that second item spike for a lot of members too, though. See if that comes to bear here as we are squaring up for a fight, Lyric.
Ooh, Hope needs to be careful. Already getting pretty heavily traded. Does have both thumbs up, so should be fine for now.
Thumbs up. TP on the back end here now. Shanks joining. Xiaoxu can join as well. There's the late TP. Trying to get this set up fight. The Weaver's Wall coming across. Shanks just going to buy a lot of time for his team. Big combos, and the hostile takeover comes through. And just like that, in the flash of an eye, AL completely dumpstered RA in front of the Dragon Pit. The Spiraling Despair is going to get a little bit back as Hery's getting chunked. The range and advantage for RA, but they get their 3rd Dragon.
Oh, but that's some people might still go down because Kael and Shanks are not in a good spot.
Preemptive flash from Kael. Nice little move there. Does make them survive, and now Shanks is kiting Crocos here just in case. And AL make out just like the bandits they are.
I can't believe that no one ends up going down from that positioning. And AL still even getting more with this mid lane turret. Great fight, great simple idea. It really was just a rinse and repeat of what we saw before to an even greater effect.
Don't mess with simple if it works. As we take a look back all the way at that fight in the top side, Xiaoxu going God shoot.
Yeah, it seems like the observers realizing that, hey, there probably is not going to be action. We have enough time to do 2 replays, as we see here, flashing away into the Lamb's Respite. But like you said, it also does help out Xiaoxu himself. So, whoa. I love they do the rinse and repeat of what they did before, walling off just a couple of members, throw out the Renata all behind it, and it just opens up for an absolute massacre going in favor of AL.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, your point's all well and good. That dragon was going nutty there, and I love it. The spectator pokes abound. I think the serious conversation is that AL, no matter how many times RA have tried to break the mold in this game, AL have stood the test. And with complete objective control, pretty much just about, having lost those 3 grubs over there, but now they're 3 minutes away from a soul. It's going to be at like 23 minutes in. They have the double marksman comp to threaten a Baron if they get to that second item spike. It's a lot going for anyone's legend here.
They've been doing such a great job with some of these small map movements, right? Already hovering up towards top side, which gives Shanks more safety to push through. Your bot lane's here in case any action breaks out. You've already pushed in mid. Just doing some of the fundamentals correctly is what's going to lead AL to a pretty consistent win. They aren't too far, RA aren't too far behind, so this game definitely isn't you know, out just yet for RA. Honestly, a lot's just going to be on that next dragon fight, right?
Yeah.
It's all going to come down to that. If RA can finally figure out to expect this Weaver's Wall that's going to be coming at them, I think they're going to have to be doing a lot more with their flanks too, and having Xiaoxu really put some threat on the back line of AL for them not to get such an easy play, right? Because both times they've seen it, Mazel, it feels like they're just like, all right, press R, they're all dead. It doesn't feel like it should be that easy.
But it's been difficult until the moment that the bone snaps, right? Like, it's really curious to me that all these fights in front of the Dragon Pit have gone so closely until AL just decides, hey, you're done for. And everybody all of a sudden dies. And that speaks to kind of that coordination of anyone's legend. Speaking of, they're already burning through the Baron. It's going to be gone before Naiyou can even get there. And AL have stolen yet another objective out from under the noses of RA. Croco get chunked and the collateral damage comes out as now Naiyou gets an answer back.
And all the credit for that goes to Vicla. Great job with the little claw throwing right into the Q. And setting that one up for his jungle dealing another kill. He's getting an objective bounty off the back of that. But Croco did just pick up a Black Cleaver himself, so AL are only getting stronger and stronger.
And we see that strength starting to abound in little things around the map. I think that speaks to the iteration of RA's draft where we were really highlighting the team fight potential for them. They do have that strength for them. As we look into the replay, it was AL who started all of it.
And once again, just great use of some of their abilities, right? First Weaver's Wall, zoning them out, just consistently good jobs. But it's right here where we're going to see Vicla setting this up with the E into the QQ, followed up by the collateral damage. So those are the types of plays that we know players on RA can find, right? The types of opportunities they can take advantage of. Just need to be able to see it more.
Got to be about putting it together and finding consistency. That was the name of the game for us when we were talking about them in draft. But AL have been consistently dominant on these turrets as they will take yet another one. They'll be all outer turrets gone. RA looking to respond in kind.
Ooh. RA coming from the opposite side of them, but Hope's ready.
Yeesh. Assum taking a ton of damage there. Sundered Sky got completed for Xiaoxu, so he's got a little bit of strength here. But look at this play. AL are forcing the hand of RA here. RA just are trying to respond, but AL had the upper hand.
And now Dragon's up. They already have vision down in this quadrant of the jungle because of the lane that they just pushed, and it's going to allow them to move to this Dragon so much easier.
They are just going to start it up with Hope kiting it out. Shanks is around the corner, has Weaver's Wall, everything available here for anyone's legend, and they're starting to burn it down. It's now Xiaoxu, the flank. I don't know if he's got it. The Weaver's Wall comes in to block the ball off it. Free objective right to anyone's legend, again in the face of RA. As the Spiraling Despair comes down, a little response, a little anger coming out from RA, but they might have just got a little too angry and hot-headed as the big combo from Shanks over the wall, but Xiaoxu, he finds him on the flank, and now AL, they are in a bit of trouble. Hope and Hery have found the other members, though. It's Xiaoxu. He looks back, and there's nothing left of his team. That's a quadra kill for Hope.
Huge fight for AL once again. They get another Dragon for free, and this Weaver's Wall is paying dividends for AL. Now they have Baron, now they have Soul, and they can just keep powering forward.
God, it looks so good until it doesn't in every series for RA, and then it just hurts.
Mazel, I feel like you just need to be able to adjust and start having someone mark the Talia.
Exactly.
The Talia is never standing with the core. It feels like that should be Xiaoxu's job, running her down so then the Weaver's Wall can't come and separate the rest of the RA members from being able to go in. But then the fight opens up. Shanks actually going to flash in to find this insane flick back. What an absolute animal for thinking that that's okay. And then they're just continuously able to run them down. Xiaoxu did have a great flank, though. I actually thought for a second maybe he'd be able to find Croco and Shanks before he went down, but sadly for him, AL were just too good.
The target selection for AL has really been on top of it this game so far, and you've really seen it pay dividends towards Hope, who right now is the absolute beast to anyone's legend, as he has 7 kills on the Callista, but the double marksman comp seems to be fitting right in the wheelhouse of anyone's legend here with Croco and Hope at the helm.
Yeah, they definitely look good on it, but again, it's kind of sad. We haven't seen too much resistance yet from RA, and at this point, 7-8K gold down, feels like RA might have to retool for the next one. And then if AL play double marksman again, Mazel, and you know, maybe RA come and punch him in the early game, then we can reassess.
Reassessment is going to be needed as systems are starting to fail here for RA in this game number 1. It wasn't that spicy of a start, but it's turned into a spicy hot pot for Anyone's Legend as they are now massively ahead. They get the tier 2 in mid, which signifies the last tier 2 on the board for RA. And they'll reset with all that juicy gold they just have and hit those 3 item spikes, or at least just about.
I just love the idea that RA are like mortally terrified of the wall. The second they see the wall, they know, Mazel, there is no disrespecting. You have to back off and give. Because the way they do every time, the amount of space they give for the wall.
The wall.
It's something.
Yeah, I don't think they brought their demolition tools here, and Shanks is looking like a nightmare. The walls are closing in, Lyric, and it's the Weaver's wall as a handshake comes through. Naiyou, he's going to have to get devoured immediately by Zorah.
Having to back off right away, and this isn't slowing AL down. They're not only sitting away camps, but if we look in the minimap, Shanks is pushing in top. They're going to try and get those 2 waves going that they can play off of. Baron's coming up again soon, too, and they are not letting RA have any vision in this topside jungle.
There's like one more engage, one more fell swoop. It'll be the end for RA here if Anyone's Legend can find an in. They are looking for more marks. We even stopped kind of focusing on that, but Croco will get another one here. See what marks he's at, but Baron is on the table, and Anyone's Legend do it very fast.
Yeah, gonna be a little bit patient, wait, see if any picks come through, because RA are still trying to get wards down into the jungle. They know what's going on.
You already have Zorah. Ooh, Shanks sets up the ground, but I don't know if he can actually make it out. Okay, Xiaoxu finds Kael, and they will actually get a decent chunk on him, but the Baron's already got it. Anyone's Legend again with objective dominance, and maybe just about to dominate on RA. Bates call goes wide, and that's actually a decent amount of damage returned back. Oh, Croco. Croco's going ham, but he pops the Lamb's Respite, and now the Spiraling Despair on top of it all. This is the combo that RA wants, as they can fight off from a distance. Xiaoxu goes down, Vicla's over the wall, but he can't get the combos. Hery's still alive. What the hell is this, Aatrox? As he gets 1, he gets 2, Sundered Sky coming alive! And you thought Aatrox was dead, but he's ending your world!
And now with only the jungler alive, this should be where AL can look to end the game.
Ooh, he gets Hope with the bailout. Hope will always be there for Anyone's Legend, and you have to hold on to it.
Great job by AL. I mean, pretty convincing, pretty easy win for their side, and that's what you need to see when a 7-3 team faces a 2-7 team.
It's absolute domination after they took that little bit of an advantage. The double marksman comp has come alive, and it is kicking the teeth in of RA. Game 1 goes down, and RA are reeling.
I'm telling you, that was the comp of the wall. The wall is the MVP in my book because RA, they just did not know how to adapt. AL keep doing the same thing over and over again. They had consistency, and I don't know what else to say. It's good that AL delivered from, again, being 7-3, facing a team like RA. This was the kind of win you needed.
It was indeed, and I think RA, we want to see consistency. I don't know if we necessarily got that one this time around. I did like the idea of giving Naiyou some presence in the draft. We got to see some more maybe meta decisions being made for them. We'll see what happens, though, on the other side of a short break, and we'll be back for game number 2.